Hello guys, welcome to this new series of videos in which we're gonna be making Tetris in Unity. So the first thing we have to notice, I'm gonna put here an image of Tetris, is that, and if you have played of course, you know that the position of the pieces are always a discrete value. So there's not an infinite amount of positions that, for example, this bar may have in this height. So the screen has a length of, I think it's 10, yeah, 10 squares, and a height of probably 20 squares. So this bar could have in the position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until 10. So it's a discrete positions. So that's makes things easier, or we'll see, but I think it'll make easier because we'll be moving the objects. I'm going to create a new sprite. So say this is my new sprite. I'm going to change image. So this sprite here will have a position of 0 in some moment, and then it'll jump to 1, then 2, 3, 4, and that's it. So the first thing I'm going to do is my main camera is set in orthographic, which is okay, and the size is 12. That means that a sprite or a game object played here is going to be moving from 1 in the Y to 12 in Y. So that means that the height of this screen is like 24, which is more or less what I want. And as I said, the size, the width of this screen is 10 units. So with this viewport is enough. If you notice, I have this grid snapping activated. So if I take a game object and I move it, it will move from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. They're not intermediate position, and that will make easier to work with this to work in this game. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is create a single piece, but it will be a square. It won't be any of these pieces. It will be one of these little squares here. So I have this sprite, but I want the sprite to have the length of a unit in Unity. So what I'm going to do is create an empty game object within this sprite. And the sprite render, I'm going to move it to this game object. I'm going to remove it from here. So I can now scale this sprite without modifying the scale of the parent. So what I'm going to do is try to set it in a position, in a parameters that fits within a unit. So if I duplicate this and I put this one on position 1 on the Y, I want this to just fit correctly with the other one. So I have to change the size, the scale of Y to, yeah, more or less like that. I think 7 is okay. So if it's a square, so the X is going to be 7 as well. So this is the size of our small squares that are going to be part of the pieces. So let's remove this game object and we just have one piece. So now let's do some coding. The first thing I want to do is to control the limits of the screen size. So I'm going to create a screen manager. I'm kind of improvising all of this, so don't alarm if I write some um, very bad code. I just want it to work so we can learn together because this is an exercise for me as well. So I'll probably write some very bad code. So uh, as I said, the size of this is like 20, or 10 by 20. So the limits of this screen manager, I'm going to say that it's public. Fact is an int. The right limit is going to be like 5. The left limit is going to be -5. So I have a length of 10. In fact, I think if I do this, it will have a length of 11, but we'll see. So the top limit is going to be 10. Sorry. And the bottom, it will be -10. These are the limits of my screen, and that will be the script that controls that the pieces are going to refer to check if they are on the limits of the screen. So it's right here, screen manager, and drag it. So I have here the screen manager script. And now we want to move the piece. So I'm going to name this the piece. This to sprite. And I'm going to create a new script, which is piece movement. So if you know how to these pieces in Tetris move, it's not a continuous movement again. It's like they are jumping from this position to one position below and so on. So there is like a delay in the movement, and after that delay, the pieces move 1 unit down. So let's say that the delay, it's 1 second for starting. And I really don't like to work with update. I'm going to work with a coroutine. And this coroutine is going to be called moved. And it's the one that's going to be in charge of move the piece, do the delay. So we're going to do a gReturn. Just wait for seconds, and we're going to wait for the delay. So after that, we're going to move the piece down. So if this piece movement belongs to a piece, I can take the transform position and add a vector down. So what is this going to do is wait for a delay, in this case 1 second, and after that move the piece down. But I want to repeat this endlessly until the piece is set or the piece is placed. So I'm going to do a bool, which is say placed, which is going to be false at the beginning. So I'm going to repeat this until placed is not, until place is true. So this is going to be repeated then. It's going to move down endlessly right now because we are not changed placed fully onto true. So in the start, I'm going to call this coroutine. We start coroutines with start coroutine and then the name of the coroutine. So this will be executed all the time without stop. So if I hit play, let's see what happens. Every second, this piece is going to move down. But now we want to stop the piece when it reaches the down limit. So what I'm going to do is have a reference to my screen manager. This is not the best way to do this. This screen manager should be a singleton, so we can refer to it easily, and we have to make sure that there's only one screen manager in the scene. But right now I'm going to do this like this quickly. Screen manager. I'm gonna find it on the scene. This is a very heavy method. You should not use this method too much because it generates a lot of it's too heavy. It's a very heavy process. So screen manager, I have that my screen manager. So when I'm moving the piece, I have to check if I can move down. So I'm gonna make a method which is a boolean, which is can move down. And if I can move down, If I can move down, then I move down. Else, the piece will be placed. And so we will get out of this curtain. So when can I move down? Well, when the position of the piece is more than the screen manager's bottom limit. So I'm going to return this. Well, I have to check the Y coordinate, of course. So let's see if this works. I'm going to decrease the delay so it moves faster, and we test it faster. And before doing anything, I'm going to change this piece, and I'm going to duplicate it and put on the limit. In fact, 1 unit below the limit. I'm going to remove this piece component. I'm going to change the color of the sprite, and I'm going to make it so big, like that. So this is the ground, this is the limit, but it's just visual. This sprite won't do anything, just visuals. So we know that when the pieces reached here, it should stop because of this script. So let's hit play and see what happens. It's going so slow. Probably I didn't save this. Let's make this private for the moment. Let's see. Now it goes faster. And when it reaches the bottom, if I go to scene and I select this piece in some -10, which is the bottom limit of the scene or the screen. Okay, so this is the first video. I hope you enjoyed. If you like it, please press the like button and subscribe. It will help me a lot. And I'll see you in the next video.